William had been warned about the creatures on Kepler 442b. The briefing had been clear. Avoid contact, maintain distance, report any sightings immediately. But when he found the small trembling thing huddled behind the supply crates at the edge of the human settlement, all those protocols seemed to evaporate from his mind. The creature was no larger than a human toddler, with iridescent scales that shifted from blue to purple in the fading light of the binary suns. Its 6 limbs were folded beneath it, and its large, luminous eyes tracked William's every movement with what he could only describe as desperate hope. "Easy there," William whispered, crouching down slowly. He reached into his supply pack and pulled out a ration bar. The creature's nostrils flared, and it made a soft, chirping sound that reminded him of his sister's daughter back on Earth. The alien child crept forward, snatched the food, and devoured it with surprising delicacy. William smiled, pulling out another bar. By the time he'd fed the creature his entire day's rations, it had curled up against his leg, making a sound suspiciously like purring. "What are you doing out here all alone?" William murmured, running his hand carefully over the creature's smooth head. It leaned into his touch. Elsa found him an hour later, her boots crunching on the red sand as she approached the observation post. "William, you missed the—" She stopped dead, her hand automatically moving to the plasma pistol at her hip. "Step away from that thing, now." "Elsa, wait. Look at her. She's just a kid. That kid belongs to a species that's attacked 3 of our survey teams." Elsa's voice was tight with tension. "The Xanath don't negotiate, William. They kill." The small creature lifted its head, looked at Elsa, and made a soft, plaintive sound. William felt it tremble against him. "She's scared and hungry," William said firmly. "I'm not going to just abandon her." Elsa's expression softened slightly, but her hand remained on her weapon. "You're too soft, William. That's going to get you killed one day." She sighed. "We need to report this to Commander Hayes." Before William could respond, the creature suddenly tensed. Its scales flashed from purple to deep crimson, and it let out a high-pitched wail that made both humans wince. Then it scrambled away, disappearing into the rocky outcropping with impossible speed. "What just—" William started, but Elsa cut him off. "Get to the shelter, now." The ground beneath their feet began to vibrate. In the distance, a shadow moved across the sand, growing larger with each passing second. William's blood ran cold as he realized what was approaching. The Xanath matriarch was massive, easily 15 feet tall, with scales like burnished armor and claws that could tear through the settlement's reinforced walls. Her eyes burned with an intelligence that was terrifyingly human in its intensity. "We're dead," Elsa breathed, raising her weapon. "We're so dead." But William stepped forward, hands raised. "Wait, what are you doing?" Elsa hissed. The matriarch advanced, her movements predatory and precise. Behind her, the small creature appeared, chirping urgently. The massive alien paused, tilting her head as the child scurried up her leg and perched on her shoulder, chattering in a language of clicks and whistles. William's heart hammered against his ribs, but he held his ground. He slowly reached into his pack and pulled out another ration bar. The matriarch's eyes fixed on the offering, then on William's face. Time seemed to stretch into eternity. Then, with movements that were surprisingly gentle for such a fearsome creature, the matriarch reached out with one massive claw and delicately took the ration bar. She examined it, sniffed it, and handed it to the child on her shoulder. The small alien chirped excitedly and held up the bar as if showing her mother a precious treasure. Understanding flooded through William. "She wasn't lost," he said quietly. "She was starving. You were all starving." The matriarch made a sound deep in her chest, her scales shifting to a softer blue. She reached into a pouch at her side and withdrew something that glittered in the dying light, a crystalline formation unlike anything William had seen before. She placed it carefully on the ground between them, then backed away slowly, her child still perched on her shoulder. The 2 aliens disappeared into the growing darkness, leaving William and Elsa standing in stunned silence. Elsa lowered her weapon, her hands shaking. What just happened? William picked up the crystal, feeling its weight. "I think we just made first contact. The real kind." Analysis of the crystal would later reveal it was a concentrated form of the planet's rarest mineral, worth more than a year's worth of supplies. But more importantly, it marked the beginning of an understanding between 2 species that had only known fear and violence. The Xanath hadn't been attacking out of aggression. They were protecting their starving young from what they perceived as invaders taking their resources. And William, by showing simple human compassion to a hungry child, had opened a door that no amount of military force could have breached. Commander Hayes was furious at first, then thoughtful, then impressed. Within weeks, trade negotiations had begun. The humans shared their food synthesis technology. The Zenith shared their knowledge of the planet's hidden resources. And every few days, a small iridescent creature would appear at the edge of the settlement, waiting for William with what he swore was an alien smile on her face. He always had a ration bar ready. Humanity's strength, William realized, wasn't just in its weapons or technology. It was in its capacity for kindness, even in the face of fear. That was the real reason humanity would endure among the stars. That was what made them worthy of the journey.